This is an update on my GAPS protocols in the first couple of weeks. Uh, Making this video about a month in, and some of the stats are for about 2 weeks in, and some are for about a month in. And I'm actually a month and a couple weeks in now, so I have some new numbers that'll update you verbally. This first number here that I'll give you is my TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. This is found to be low in me back in the 2019, 2018. I forget when we first discovered that, but it was discovered along with my prediabetes. And my doctor's protocols were able to help this number. As you can see, my first number that he found was 0.89. That's quite a low number for thyroid stimulating hormone. And his protocols was able to get it up to 1.78, and it stayed fairly level there. A year later, it was 1.61. Now, when I took my test, I had come off of his medicines and been off for about 2 weeks. I don't know how long that uh, levothyroxine stays in the system, but 2 weeks out, I expected the numbers to at least be level or have dropped, but they went up a little bit. So that's quite an impressive change there for me to be able to come off of a prescription medicine and have that number even rise a little bit in such a short amount of time. The next number is hemoglobin A1C. And as you can see, I started out at 6.2 and I'm now at 6.1. And that doesn't seem like a major thing until you consider all the factors. The first thing is I've had a lot of variables between, because that goes all the way back to um, 2019 when this number of 6.2 was first established, and I was able to uh, maintain that for a couple of years there until I got COVID. And what happened when I got COVID was I had to have steroids, and the steroids will drive your sugar numbers up. So we waited a while and took the number, and it came up 6.3. Even though it went up a little bit, I was still pleased because it had been so high. The glucose numbers were extremely high during my hospitalization and the few weeks after taking the steroids. Then a year later, it went to 6.6. I've been off the steroids for over a year at that point, and they were my numbers were rising. So that bothered me a little bit. So I started working on it and trying. In fact, my new doctor had told me to start statins and go on metformin because of that number right there, and because my cholesterol numbers were up. Well, we have since determined that cholesterol numbers maybe should be up. That's your body trying to repair itself, is why those numbers go up. And I was able to get it back down to 6.2 without metformin and statins. So that number just changed simply from diet and exercise. But then it fluctuated again and went to 6.4. So now it's starting to rise again, and I start working on it again. And it stayed that number, or I don't know that it stayed that number, but my glucose readings didn't indicate that it was coming much below 6.3 until I went on GAPS. And then 2 weeks into GAPS, I checked the A1C and it was showing a 6.1. So that was quite impressive to me. Now, this slide here is describing cardio fitness as defined by the Fitbit app, which they get their information from all kinds of sources. And if you have a cardio score of 44 or greater, you're considered in the excellent range. And that excellent range is where I've always been because I've always been a relatively active person. And then this screen tells me that I can potentially improve that number with increased exercise. Have you ever heard that? To uh, watch your diet and exercise more, and it'll improve your health. Well, that's what this app is telling me, right? And when this slide was made, my resting heart rate was, uh, my score, not my resting heart rate, but my cardio fitness score was 45 to 49. So, you know, above the line there. And then my app tells me one way to improve my cardio fitness score is to improve my uh, variable oxygen rate max, and to do that by consistent exercise and high intensity training. Well, high intensity training is not something I'm going to be doing. I'm not a gym person. All my exercise is from natural things, working in the yard, hiking, daily routine, working around the house. That's where my exercise is. And then it tells me my cardio fitness score can improve by a weight loss of 5 pounds. Okay, I've been trying for years to get below 172, and it just has not happened no matter how I change my diet and how much I exercise. I had a job at one point where my step count was 20 to 30,000 steps 5 days a week, and I still couldn't get below 172. It says your cardio fitness score is related to weight. Well, of course it is, but it's telling me again, if you have a goal to lose weight, then healthy weight loss may improve your fitness level. Now, this is comparing my score to Mr. Ryan Hall. I'm 47 to 51 at this point, and Mr. Ryan Hall is at 81, so he's well above me. I have no intentions of ever maxing out and matching Mr. Ryan Hall because he's a U.S. marathon record holder. I'm not going to be running any marathons. Now, the resting heart rate, this is a number that they look at because it determines your cardio fitness. And as you can see, in 2023, I've varied a lot, but it has steadily come down since I started the GAPS protocol. And from May to July, you see it went from about 64 down to about 58. That's an incredible drop there. And that number right now is 57, and I have seen some 56s. 56 isn't even on this chart because it's much lower than I've ever had before. And July, you can see I had one peak there one night, but it come back down and it's leveled off. It looks like the graph says 60, but the numbers say 59. And like I said, I'm currently averaging 57. Now this is the heart rate zones chart. As you can see, I'm in fat burn quite a bit. But look at the June and July numbers. Of course, July is only for 10 days, so it's not a complete chart number there. But the June number is well below the May number, and we had 2 weeks there where we had a complete week of rain and then a week of smoke that just limited outdoor activity, thereby limiting my heart rate being up. However, as you can see, my numbers kept going down. This is my weight loss. The uh, January, well, January is not even on here. It's just the 3 months of scores because I wasn't tracking there for a little while. So from March to July the 10th, you can see a major loss. This is the all time going back from late 2021 to now. And as you can see, I peaked at almost 190 pounds there at one point, and now I've come down. Like I said before, I couldn't get below 172 until I started the GAPS protocols, and now I'm in the 150s. I'm at 157 as I speak, and I have a goal now to go from here to 154.4. My original goal was 165, and I hit that so fast under the GAPS protocol. I said, let's do 10 more pounds. And then I ultimately set my goal at 154.4, and I hope to be there in the next week or two. Now look at my step count. You see how May was the peak, April and May was the peak, and then June come back down. Remember, the outdoor activity got limited, and then July is even fewer steps, simply because of variable life changes that's happening with me right now. So as the exercise has gone down, my weight has gone down, my resting heart rate has gone down. Those things don't correspond with what the medical professional and the exercise profession and the weight loss professions all tell you. It does not have to work that way. It's more dependent upon what you put in your body. And the GAPS protocols will help you to know what to put in your body to give it the best fuel to recuperate itself, to repair itself, and put your body in a state that you can be healthy and have much more energy and have overall improved numbers that all doctors try to look at when you have chronic illnesses such as diabetes or prediabetes. So I hope this encourages you to learn about the GAPS protocols and get involved with taking control of your health.